When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube. So, we're back on the Grease Goblins channel, coming at you guys with an interesting video. It wasn't requested, I just thought of the idea at basically midnight, so, you know. Recording pretty late at night. So, let's get into it. So, for this video, I thought of an idea of who is the best king that could have taken the throne so far in our timeline of A Song of Ice and Fire. Now, I'm not going off of, I'm going for only characters that either A, were in rebellion to the throne, that were trying to beat the Lannisters, or characters that were actively going for the throne, like Stannis or a Renly character. So I'm going to give you guys my list real quick. Out of these characters, I want you guys to let me know who you think would be the best ruler. So right off the bat, I have Renly, Stannis, Robb, this is Robb Stark, Joffrey, Tommen, Balon, Greyjoy, Daenerys, or Aegon, or this is also basically Fagon. I didn't include Jon in here because we don't know if he's going to be a Targaryen. It's not confirmed. There's a lot of theories about Jon's parentage that we're not going to get into this video. So for that reason, I kept him off the list. Also, he hasn't been in open rebellion yet against the Lannisters or the throne yet. So yeah, I just want to get rid of a few options right off the bat. Joffrey, horrible king. We all know this. If you guys want to give me an argument of why you think he'd be a good king, let me know in the comments. Balon, I don't think he's a good king either. I mean, he's good at inspiring his troops, I guess, but I think he'd be terrible at ruling the Seven Kingdoms. And also, he's just kind of delusional in my opinion, but who knows? So those two are gone. Now, I'm going to put Tommen next. So Tommen's next, then I'm going to cross off the list. The problem with Tommen is, at this point, A, he's too young. I made a video basically already why Joffrey, how it was insane that Joffrey was let, you know, to be the king at the age of 12. Tommen's kind of the same thing. It's just he's not as cruel, so that's why he's above his brother. Because a good council around him, he would have been a very good king, actually, in my opinion. Like, if Tywin had been able to, you know, live out and continue to, you know, train Tommen, he would have been a very good king. But, you know, that's making this king very reliant on his council, and that's something that I'm like, eh. Alright, next up. So, I actually have Robb here. Because Robb is someone that doesn't know how to play the game. He makes a lot of very bad political decisions, like his father almost. I made a video about Ned as well, and I think he made some poor political decisions as well, but again, Robb just, and he also doesn't want it, which is a good characteristic of a king, but at the same time, if you're not willing to play the political game, you're probably not going to be a good king. And that's kind of how I look at Robb, because you look at the rest of the candidates I have here, I just think they're all probably better at ruling the Seven Kingdoms than Robb. Let me know if you guys think Robb would be better than some of the characters I'm going to say. I personally love Robb. He is my second favorite character behind Stannis, who we'll talk about. But yeah, moving on. So I'm going to put Dany just above Robb. We've already seen Dany try and rule, and she doesn't do the best at it. She definitely doesn't do bad. She's willing to compromise, willing to try and make the people happy. But at the same time, she can be very cruel at times. And I think she is someone that, again, would need good counselors around her, like Barristan and all these other people. Like, counselors are very important, don't get me wrong, to every king. But I think Dany definitely would need a little bit of help. She's still younger. She doesn't know how to rule in general. She's very good at conquering, but ruling is a very different story. And I think some of the other people would be better, as well as playing the Game of Thrones, which Dany has almost no experience at. So I personally would put Dany there. So we've now entered the top three. So just as a reminder, the three we have left are Renly, Stannis, and Aegon. So now I'm going to say probably, this is tough because I think all three of the last three would actually be pretty good to rule. We never get to see Renly rule. Stannis is still alive, we don't know. And then you have Aegon. So I'm going to actually say Aegon for number 3, because the thing with Aegon is, yes, they've been training him to be king this whole time. He's probably a Blackfire. If you want to see my video on me discussing that, I go over it with the Varys video I did as well as the Aegon video I did. Personally, I think he's a Blackfire. But we've seen Aegon, he does have a temper. We've seen that with, him with Tyrion, where, he throws the Savas board. I think that's how you say it. He has a little bit of temper. He's never actually been put into real situations where he's seen, all of these, how the poor work and all this. I personally think Aegon would still be a good king, especially with good counselors around him. But again, he's very young. He's inexperienced with any type of rule. He's never been in any situation where he's commanding people's lives. So I think for that reason, he'd be number 3. So number 2, this is difficult because I think both of them would be very good kings. Number 2, I'm going to say, is Renly. So Renly is kind of weird because I think both of them, Renly and Stannis, have weaknesses that the other one is good at. So Renly, for instance, in my opinion, is very good at the Game of Thrones. He's very good at understanding what's going on. He understands. So if we look at, the first book, right? Renly knows that we need to take Cersei and her children immediately. We can't wait. Something that Ned did not do. He thought, he had the gold cloaks in his pocket. He did not. And he ended up costing him. Renly had a very good plan, which wasn't as honorable, and that's something that Renly is willing to do. He's not willing to, or he's willing to be a little dishonorable to win, and that's a good and bad quality. But Renly is a better player of the game. He's more politically ambitious. He knows how to make friends. Okay, that's something Renly says to Stannis, because that's Stannis' weakness. But Renly would be very good at. The people would love him. We've already seen this in the books. There's multiple times where we see that the normal public does like Renly, as well as Renly is good at forging alliances. Now, where Renly would be bad at is we see basically in A Clash of Kings, he's not very good at leading an army. He's very much somebody that plays war, as Catelyn suggests. So if any, future rebellions came up, Renly's not going to be the best leader, but, if you're Renly, you could also have somebody, be that person to where you're not having to be the guy, making all the war decisions and all the planning. You could have somebody else do that for you. But again, it's a nice element to have, seeing as though you're the king, you're supposed to be leading these people. You should know what to do. Which leads me to my number 1, which is Stannis. So I know what people are going to say with Stannis. He's not a well-liked person. But here's the thing. You don't need to be extremely well-liked by the people to be a good king. We've seen this from Tywin. Tywin is not well-liked. Tywin is more feared than he is anything. He's more feared, but he knows, I guess, how to not get the people to hate him so much that they'll revolt. And he keeps people in their place. Stannis is very good at this. If you look at when Cersei basically is looking at all these rebellions that are going to happen with Robb in the north, with both the brothers of Robert and Renly and Stannis, Stannis is the one she worries about. Even though Stannis has the least power at this point, the thing is, Cersei's sitting here going, Stannis is a very good military commander. He's very smart, and he will do the justice, okay? If you have wronged him, or if you've done something that breaks an oath or a law, he will enforce it, which is a good trait of a king. But Stannis at the same time does know how to play the political game. He's doing it right now in a Dance with Dragons, trying to basically play the game of getting all these northern houses to his cause, getting the wildlings to his cause. He's actually doing a pretty good job. Maybe he doesn't get the wildlings, but he knows how to manipulate that situation. Also, he's being very, clever and savvy with getting the Iron Bank to support him. So Stannis is not in the way Ned was. Ned was somebody that was very honorable and didn't like playing the game, didn't like making these dirty decisions. Stannis doesn't like playing it, but he knows how to, is the difference. He knows how to make these decisions that need to be made. But in those reasons, I do think Stannis would be a very good king. Now, would he be very well liked? No. He would probably be somebody that people didn't like. Because he's not a flamboyant personality like Renly. He's not somebody that's going to have all these unnecessary things like tournaments like his brother, because Stannis is very much quite the opposite of his brothers. Because Stannis was kind of always the brother that was kind of just shit on. He was the middle child. He was the normal middle child. He didn't really get any attention from his brothers, or I wouldn't say his brothers. I would say Robert kind of disrespected him multiple times throughout his life. And I think Stannis would be that perfect king of the ones we're given. Definitely wouldn't be the perfect king by all means. But out of the options, I like him as the best king. Let me know what you guys think. If there's somebody I missed on here that you think I should have included, because there are other characters that would be a better king than the ones I listed. It's just none of them are going for the throne or have ever gone for the throne. Unless I'm completely whiffing on somebody and I'm completely, like, forgetting someone. But at this point, I think these would be the people. I could also have thrown Tywin in here, and if Tywin was in here, I actually would have Tywin as number 1. I think Tywin would be the best king out of all of them, but I think Stannis is a really good king. I think the top 3 would all be very good kings. I think after that, it gets kind of sketchy and kind of depends on who they have as advisors. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.